Welcome into this Tuesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford Studio. We'll talk some college football. It was the last college football game of the season last night, the national championship. The Georgia Bulldogs knock off Alabama. I think 32-18 was the final, something like that. They 33-18? Yeah, 33-18 was the final. Georgia getting its first national championship since 1980. Discuss anything that means. Look ahead to an early top 25, some betting odds for next season, and more. Also, the bigger story in college football yesterday, all the commissioners meeting a couple blocks down from Lucas Oil Field, or stadium there, as they discuss a playoff that is not really going very well as far as meetings right now. We'll get into that a good bit. Greg Sankey's pissed, that and more coming up on the show. College basketball tonight, Ole Miss and A&M from College Station, 7:30 start for that. So plenty going on. We'll get to all of it and more on the podcast. Podcast brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. We're still trying to give you $10. All you got to do is go to the pump, any Blue Sky location in Mississippi, take a picture of the QR code, open up the Oxford Exxon or the Exxon mobile app, either one, and you get $10 right there. 1,000 points equals $10 at the pump with the Oxford Exxon and all Blue Sky locations. Lunch specials, are $5.69, 2 sides of bread, 32-ounce drink. So that and much more there at the Oxford Exxon. Again, coming from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900, 662-257-1900. Call that number, ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. Right to the bottom line, no hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest is completely up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today, 662-257-1900. There's a pretty big crowd starting to roll into rafters yesterday to watch Georgia and Alabama in the championship game. You can watch Ole Miss, Texas A&M basketball tonight. There's NFL playoffs this weekend. Ole Miss and Auburn this weekend at home as well. So head over to Rafters, make that part of your weekend, make it part of your week. Grab a burger, a po' boy, great appetizers, full beer selection, full bar, the whole deal there at Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford, and also Rafters in New Albany.
I watched the main telecast all night. I never even flipped on any of the alternate things. I was just in general, from a principal standpoint, annoyed by the A&M thing on the film room that I didn't really even want to turn it on. I had a weird thing about that. So
yeah, I just forgot about it. I watched Carson and I watched the main broadcast. Just watched the whole thing. I was at my parents' with my brother was in town. I missed the start of the game, and then I didn't even think about flipping around. I just watched that. It was a good broadcast. They did a good job.
Yeah, because like because we use Hulu Live or whatever for my TV, and when you come on, like I had all the options in front of me. Like I had to scroll through and pick one, and I was like, yeah, no, let's just watch the game. Because frankly, I watched most of the second half with the volume off. I just was working on some other stuff, kind of had it on in front of me. I was watching, but I did not even have any sound on for pretty much the whole fourth quarter. I will tell you this though. I went into it kind of just wanting Alabama to win because it was the known. Something about Kirby irks me. But they're late. I found myself pulling for Georgia. Mm-hmm. I found myself wanting Georgia to win that football game. And I think that, if anything, it more just had to do, but I don't know anybody on the Alabama roster, and I was really happy for Matt Luke. I honestly think that might have been what – at the end of the day, I went, why do I really care? What does it really change? Okay, I know one person. So I hope they do well.
I was watching with Carson, and he was openly, outwardly cheering for Georgia.
Was it really?
Yeah, I don't know why. He just was. Okay. And so I was, it made it fun. And then I'm like you. Look, anybody who doesn't have Alabama fatigue, you're either an Alabama fan or you just love the same thing over and over and over. Might be the guy that eats meatloaf every Monday.
Sure.
I mean, whatever. I was happy for Kirby Smart, if I'm honest. I was happy for Georgia fans. My wife's Aunt Nancy called me yesterday. It was my birthday. She's a Georgia alum, big Georgia fan. They're all Georgia. Grew up basically around there, the whole deal. So I was happy for her. I was happy for and I was happy for Matt. And there's a thread on our message board that, frankly, boils your blood a little. But They are remarkably good people. So I was happy for Matt.
Yeah.
Matt didn't do anything wrong here. He took a job that he was offered. He tried hard. It didn't work. There are a lot of reasons it didn't work. He's gone to Athens. He's coaching on an incredibly talented team. And his offensive line played really well yesterday. They were a big difference in the fourth quarter of that game.
They dominated the game late on that drive.
And then at the end, give Nick Saban a ton of credit. Nick Saban goes to midfield and was genuinely happy for Kirby Smart.
It wasn't. I mean, he kind of kept Kirby there, like kept on. They kind of went back and forth. I hated. I mean, I know Matt Corral's raising his hands, going "Welcome to my world" a little bit. I hate Alabama was not at full strength, just because I do like when Williams goes down, because the way you beat Georgia is to extend them into the secondary and throw down the field. Once that happened, that game was decided. At some point, as long as Bennett made a play or two, Georgia was going to win that game. I do think Alabama wins the football game if Jameson Williams doesn't get hurt.
It's a different game, probably. When Slade Bolden becomes your primary receiver, it's tough. It's funny. I thought Bryce Young did more for his stock last night in a loss than he's done in a lot of the wins. Gritty, competitive, made throws, made plays. They just ran out of weapons, and it's one of the first times in a long time that Alabama just had fewer weapons on the field. Georgia's immensely talented, all the jokes and all that stuff, but they are an immensely talented team, and I was happy for Stetson Bennett. People are so ready to just throw someone under the bus. And the kid he made a mistake, and he said, "Okay, I'm not going to be the reason we lose." And then they went at it. They got away from their conservative nature for just a couple minutes and made some deep throws, and he put the ball on the money, and their receivers made plays. And look, they're the champs, and they were the best team in college football. Mm-hmm. I think we doubted it for a minute after the SEC championship game. Like, well, did they beat anybody? And the answer to that question was, yeah, they did beat some teams, and they won the title. They destroyed Michigan, and in Nick Saban's words, they kicked Alabama's ass in the fourth quarter last night, and Alabama's the king. And when you are able to physically take the crown from the king, you earned it, and they did. And Saban, again, I thought it was one of the cooler moments of the game.
Yeah.
I was glad the camera stuck with it because Kirby Smart worked for Nick Saban for about 11 years. And if you talk to people who are familiar with the Alabama program, and I'm friendly with a lot of those people, they will tell you that Nick Saban absolutely loves, that's the word, Kirby Smart, almost like a son. And Kirby has gone over to Georgia, and he built Alabama East. And last night was the coronation, and it won't be 42 years before they win another title.
It was a couple different things there last night from Saban. One, it was, like you said, he was happy for Kirby. Well, it's one of the things, I mean, somebody who knows all of these guys incredibly well. When we had Tyler Siskey on a few months ago, said which one would he like to lose to? He goes, I'm not a doubt, Kirby, because he generally likes him, would be happy for him, and the success that comes with that. And then also it's Nick knowing, hey, you don't win every time, and I got a pretty good team coming back next year. It's going to be all right. What was one game is not the end of any world. We're going to go to work tomorrow. Be all right. We're cool.
Oh, yeah. No, it'll.
31 still plays for me. Bryce Young still plays for me.
It'll light a fire for Saban. They'll be. I mean, if you had me predict who wins next year, I know who I'm picking.
Nick was congratulating him. I think his quote was, "Yeah, you kicked our ass in the fourth quarter." And then Kirby was trying to check on Jameson. It seemed like kind of what their back and forth was there as they were doing it. And Nick said they think it's an ACL, was what he told Kirby in the handshake there post game as that was going on.
It looked like an ACL.
It did. Non-contact.
The way he went down, and then he was able to walk when the pain went away. If it were a muscle thing, he probably wouldn't have been able to walk right there. He was able to walk, but they took him back, and he kind of knew. It sucks for him, but I think he's proven his value. They'll fix the ACL, and he'll help an NFL franchise.
You think so? Like the chances there gonna be all right.
I like his chances to be okay.
We got that. We got the look. You guys, you've been in on our stick for years. I know you get it. You laugh at it. You at least appreciate it. But I got to tell you, he won't mind me. I got to text him Cole McCarty last night, going, "Hey, I get it now." And what we were talking about was the shrimp cocktail.
Yeah.
That this obsession, it's very good. It is good. That cocktail sauce is absolute fire. It's fantastic.
It is very good.
We've had bottles of it. It's good.
It's very good.
However, and you have to understand sports writers.
Yeah.
Really sports writers even more than media in general. Just sports writers.
Yes.
I don't mean like, oh, that's cool, yum. I mean like the euphoria that they had at halftime of this game last night because the media meal was St. Elmo's shrimp cocktail where look, it is very good, and the shrimp, everybody may make their hay, it's landlocked, and it's Indiana. The shrimp is very high quality. It's good. But
those shrimp had clearly come from
that's
like
what I'm
the
saying.
Walmart.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was the
section.
cocktail sauce with communal frozen shrimp.
Thank you.
It was not steakhouse quality $18.99 shrimp in that quantity. The cost on that would be astronomical relative to what it was.
Yes.
They went and got a bunch of pre-cooked bull shrimp, put them out, and then put St. Elmo's cocktail sauce around it.
That is correct.
And everybody's going, oh, my God, I cried when I ate it. And it's like,
I've told you.
you can mail order this for like $12. We've done it. We appreciate those who sent it to us. Like,
people think that I'm
It is
kidding.
the new version of when we talked about it at Ohio State games. The media would line up with 7 minutes to go in the second quarter to get in line for the McFlurries at halftime. It was like the national championship version of that. Because the only thing we see even close is covering games at Memphis when they bring Rendezvous out. That's the only even like sort of ballpark thing that we run into from this standpoint.
Yeah.
But
you could go to the Rendezvous and get it yourself.
they all tweeted about it. Like
I know.
I mean, oh God. Oh.
Well, I mean, you think
It's shrimp cocktail.
you think I'm kidding when I tell you that some of those people, now you see why the narrative is controlled. Chase, I'm being serious. They bring them to Indianapolis in February and let them do a mock selection committee. Ooh. Mock selection committee. And they'll take them out to dinner
They will.
at St. Elmo's.
I'll have a big time.
And they probably play some Bruce Springsteen out. And they just own them. And then when they tell them, hey, we need you to write this, they do. It's a little more subtle than that, but not much.
Sure.
They're easily manipulated.
Apparently, Ohio State can actually keep their McFlurry machine operable, unlike most McDonald's. Yeah, apparently
right?
It works most of the time. And I know, here's the thing, too. I bet it's like some kind of soft serve thing, and they just in-house make a bunch of toppings that allow you to then mix. Like, I doubt we actually have a certified McFlurry situation. I've never covered a game at the shoe, so I don't know.
Well, I don't know about you, but I don't typically eat a lot at games that I'm covering.
Well, for multiple purposes. I mean,
I'm busy. I've got a computer. My hands, I don't want my hands to be dirty. Like I covered Ole Miss. Who'd they play? Mississippi State Saturday. I had a water.
Do you have a beer?
No. I had a water. I don't get it. And I've covered football games where I've been in the stadium for 10 hours and I've had.
They say you're there a long time. Getting hungry is very possible, and you can grab something at some point. But the way these things are set up, especially at football games, and people where we would say, no, it's buffet style. Like you just grab it. Like literally, they were piled up on tables, Banker, where you just used the tongs or your hands and grabbed it. So
you wouldn't have been able to pay me to go get that. After all those cats have been touching and no, I'm good. Because sports writers, a lot of them.
Was it Mandel or somebody who goes, best halftime meal ever with periods behind every word?
Yeah, he was so excited. He was like moved. But these
what I was going to say is that
we have earned our reputation.
If you eat if you eat all the time, every time a media meal is presented to you at a football game, you've had like 4 meals because they'll have pregame stuff, they'll have halftime stuff, they'll have postgame stuff. I mean, you're given food non-freaking stop.
I know.
In addition to like all the popcorn and the peanuts and the candy and the cookies and
you
the stuff.
See these guys and they eat the whole day and like, hey champ, there's a reason your waistlines are 46. I mean, it's not by accident.
Get a little bit of it at State with the muscadine ripple. They'll get really annoyed when the muscadine ripple is gone and all they have left is the cookie dough or the chocolate or the vanilla or whatever.
Yeah.
They have that. When we're there, it's like 10 degrees. Like, the last thing I want is, hey, do you have any ice cream? Because they'll be shivering eating their muscadine ripple as they do it. Now, Vanderbilt does have really good gelato. I will give them that. I'm not going to go line up for it, but Vanderbilt has really good gelato.
State usually has fresh coffee the entire game.
You are always...
Because Vanderbilt has like awful coffee. You know, like you can't even do coffee. You can't just like have
football. Baseball, they'll give you a spread.
Yeah, yeah.
Damn, just let Corbin run the entire athletic department. Just put Tim in charge, let him handle it, and it'll be all right.
I'll go to most football games, in fact, and I won't eat the entire game that I'm there. I'll grab a coffee or a water or whatever. Ole Miss typically has that lemonade that's pretty good, and
like the lemonade.
I'll go get some lemonade.
You like the lemonade.
Because that lemonade's pretty good usually.
You are. Anyway, sorry. I didn't mean to spend 5 minutes on food, but I knew it was coming, and yet I was still baffled when I saw it. And I just went, there you go. There you go.
I didn't know it was coming, and there it was. And I was like, oh, my God. You guys are like orgasmic over frozen shrimp. It says, you want to go to Stewart? Do you ever go to Walmart, just like grab a bag, thaw it out under running water, boil it for a minute?
Yeah, but gee, you're not standing out. She goes, I'll eat ice cream in the winter and the temperature in my mouth the same as year round. We're in an open air press box, though. Go out to by the mailbox and eat the ice cream after you've been out there for 45 minutes is more the problem. It's not the time of year. It is that
you're frozen.
Like you're freezing.
Yeah, the last thing you want is.
I mean, if I'm covering an Egg Bowl in person at State, I mean, seriously, it's overcoat and gloves and scarf. I mean, you're shaking at some point.
9 times out of 10, it's really cold.
Yeah, I mean, it's. Oh. You prefer open air press boxes?
Yeah, typically because you can
hear and take it in a little
bit better. But it's been so long since I've been to a football game. I mean, I've only been to one.
I don't remember.
I've only been to one in person in the last 2.5 years. Well, I don't know.
I don't have it in front of me. I was going to find it in a second. The Vegas odds for next year. But my point being to this, because there's no reason to spend much time on it, and I don't even know that the odds matter. Because my point is, if I'm putting money on anybody, no matter what the odds are, it's Alabama or Georgia, and my only even flyer might be Ohio State. Otherwise, every single dollar is a waste of money.
Sure.
We can talk about everything else, but if you're just betting, you go, oh, I can get so-and-so at 30-1. Well, no, why? I mean, light it on fire if you want, but that $5 isn't turning into anything.
No.
I mean.
I'm putting my money on Alabama right now. I would just take, if you said, okay, you got this money and you can sort of disperse it however you want, I'll just put it all on Alabama and roll. I've got a 50% shot of winning.
Do you think them or Georgia are winning?
Yeah, they're going to play for it. They're going to play again. Both men knew it when they stand there at the midfield. They've built superpowers.
Yeah, the Heisman odd list, just stupidity. I mean, Will Anderson, by the way, has the same odds to win the Heisman as Will Rogers this morning.
I bet on Anderson.
They have Anderson at 40-1. He's the best player in college football.
Yeah,
I know I'm harping at this point, but I'm even watching last night and I'm going, you idiots put Aiden Hutchinson in New York?
Yeah, no, Georgia everything Georgia did had to be
around him,
done around him, and he still was incredibly impactful for 3 quarters.
Yeah, I don't even think Ohio State's a good value. I'm just saying that's even the only, quote, sleeper I would throw in other than Alabama and Georgia. I wouldn't even consider Michigan or Oklahoma or somebody like that. Like Clemson's up there. No way in hell.
No, they're not beating those teams. It was funny. There were people in media, I'm not calling names, that were bitching about this not being a good game. I thought it was a really entertaining game. From start to finish.
It was a great game. It was a good game.
It was defensive.
We're so conditioned for if you don't get points, it's a bad game. That was a good game.
Yeah, no, I mean, they were both, especially Georgia, was having to, okay, when do we go for it? When do we take a shot? Because they were trying to be conservative and stay in the game and figure it out. And there was a chess match element to it that I kind of enjoyed. I thought it was really interesting. I don't know. It was the two best teams in the country, and they played each other for the title. And I was entertained. I don't know what it is. It's an interesting dynamic to me. The people who, the national people who make a living off that sport, and it gets to the end, and they can't criticize because they're indebted to the NCAA on a day when it would be, we will in a minute, on a day when it would be really easy to criticize the sport. But Alabama and Georgia playing at the end, those were the two best teams. Those are the two guys that have built superpowers. They're not doing anything wrong. I mean, everybody goes, well, they're both those teams. Everybody's buying their teams. Well, they manipulated. They've tampered with rosters. Everyone's tampering. Everyone's tampering. Your roster's being tampered with, and your coaches are tampering with rosters.
It's like I'm not even going to use names here because, frankly, I don't want to even give them the publicity for it. But it's like the alt media portion of the college football fan base that apparently just hates college football but still tries to cover it for a living. Oh God, I'm so glad we got this rematch. Well, it was a great game, and what the hell do you want them to do? Play Cincinnati? I mean, like who else was supposed to be in the stupid game?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Those were the two best teams.
I mean, if you do something else, they're just going to win 41-3, and we'll all move on with our night.
I mean, you wanted the two best teams?
Because there's a group of people go, no, well, you just should have left Georgia out, so somebody else would have gotten to play. Well, and then what?
Yeah. So,
you think Notre Dame was beating Alabama last night?
No way.
I mean.
In fact, I mean, look, nobody beat either one of those teams. They beat each other once.
That's it.
No, nobody else was
A&M.
beating them. A&M. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah.
Congrats.
That night happened.
And that was the reason A&M was doing the ESPN thing.
Yeah.
Because they looked for a storyline and they found something.
Yeah. It was a well-played game. I'm sure the ratings are good. It kept everybody in till basically 3 minutes left in it. If you were Kirby, would you have gone for 2 when you went up 7 to go up 9 to put it away?
No, I'd
You'd have kicked the extra point?
I'd just kick the extra point.
Okay. We were debating that in a group text last night. Whether you go for 2 there to end it.
Because that way you make them make 2 plays to beat you and not just 1.
Yeah. We'll get into the playoff discussion, which actually is what does affect Ole Miss a little bit moving forward here in a second. First, about Northeast Spark, NESPARC. 2 packages, the 100 Mbps or the Blaze, the 1 gig that powers the Clark Ford studio. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. NESpark.com, 662-238-3159. Phone service is available, parental controls, network security, and much more. So get the best internet around with Northeast Spark. Again, 662-238-3159.
Don't just accept what you see, but imagine something new. Step forward and chase after a better version of yourself. Every day, Corinth Dental is helping people reinvent themselves one smile at a time. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures, including Invisalign. These clear aligners are the virtually invisible way to improve your smile. Call Corinth Dental today for a no-cost digital scan of your teeth. Let them show you the way to a straighter, healthier smile. 12 months, no interest, no down payment financing available at corinthdental.com. We are also brought to you by Service Specialist. What are your goals for the year 2022? Does your company need hard-to-find talent to meet these goals? Maybe you're personally seeking a career change. Let this be your year to make the change, and your first step needs to be to contact Service Specialist Employment Agency. They're the oldest employment agency in Mississippi. They recruit in all industries. Remember, there's nothing to lose by reaching out. There's no cost to you as a candidate, and everything is kept confidential. Service Specialist wishes you and your company a successful 2022. You can contact them at 662-832-5787. 5138. I'll have a mailbag up tomorrow at rebelgrove.com. It's brought to you by Whitney McNutt of Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors, serving you for all your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. Whitney sells condos, land, commercial, and residential family homes. You can reach her at 662-567-2573 or 662-842-3844. And we're brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They have a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. Great lease deals as well. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com.
Podcast also brought to you by G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222, right there on South Lamar in Oxford, or with Tyson Drugs. They are on the square in Holly Springs. They deliver locally in the Oxford area, and they offer MedSync. Fill your prescriptions the same day each month and take care of you. One trip to the pharmacy, one delivery. You have what you need there with G&M. They also offer Right Way Meds to individually package your medication for someone who needs that extra step. Again, 662-236-2222. So earlier in the day, the commissioners plus the Notre Dame AD, Jack Swarbrick, was his name? Yeah. They all met in Indianapolis to discuss the ongoing discussions about what to do with the playoff. Because, since June, when they put out that first idea of it moving to a 12-teamer, I think that everybody said, okay, well, that's 100% getting done. They're already announcing it to us. This is rubber stamped. This has been everything but rubber stamped to this point.
Yeah.
Including yesterday, Bob Bowlesby of the Big 12, who I always make fun of, but actually he was completely right yesterday. He and Greg Sankey beyond pissed off leaving this room yesterday for multiple different reasons. 8 of the 11 in the room have agreed to basically just get it done. Fine. Sure, we don't all agree exactly how we want to do it, but let's do this thing and move on. The ACC, the Pac-12, and the Big Ten won't agree. They are being complicated on seemingly everything at this point.
What are the hang-ups?
They want... There's some discussion between 8 or 12, and the people who want the other thing will not budge at all off the other. And then the automatic qualifiers. Frankly, the Big Ten and the Pac-12 are wanting to take their ball and go home because it doesn't guarantee them the Rose Bowl every year. Okay. Literally, the Rose Bowl is hanging up so much of these discussions.
Well, that tells me that the Rose Bowl is in their pockets.
Well, 100%.
They can't genuinely feel that.
I mean, Greg Sankey says yesterday, those who asked to expand the playoff are not ready to act. Frankly, it's in my best interest to leave it at 4.
Yeah.
His point, and Sankey says this, I'll read a couple different quotes as we go down the story. I'm reading from Ross Dellinger.
Because Keenum had a great quote about that, too. He was exactly right.
Well, because Sankey's deal is, look, you guys are the ones that wanted it. Okay, fine, I don't care. I'd prefer 8, but I'll do 12. All Sankey's worried about is the ability to get more SEC teams in versus at-large spots. He doesn't want a system where every damn body's an automatic qualifier, hence something last night wouldn't even be possible, and you just got, instead in the championship game, you got Georgia playing Houston or something because they want to. It's like, come on. No, you have to have some whatever.
The Sun Belt doesn't need a qualifier.
Because Sankey was pissed off enough that when he came out, his first comment was, well, if we're just looking at results, maybe we deserve 2 at-larges. I mean, two automatic bids then. Mm-hmm. And hard to really argue with him at this point.
He ain't wrong.
So his point was, you guys all asked for it. I came here and said, okay, we're cool, but I'm sitting in this room wasting my day when I could be doing something else with it because you 3 won't actually agree to anything. So if you want to be complicated, I'll tie this thing up, take my ball and go home and leave it at 4, and I'll be all right. That's his point. It's hard to really argue with him. Now, look, the SEC is going to win the most in an 8-teamer and a 12-teamer too. Ole Miss would have been in the playoff. I mean, there are different ways to win this at all for Greg Sankey, but he is coming into this with the most power of anyone at this point, for damn sure. And by clogging it up right now, because they've kind of set an arbitrary date of if it doesn't get done very soon, it's not going to get done until 2026, which is when the whole rights package changes and they can do some different things to get it accomplished. But by being stubborn right now, they are throwing away $450 million in additional money.
Yep.
16 extra playoff spots in 24 and 25. And then the increased ratings and TV leverage and all those things that would go with those ESPN games turning into games. Because the one that makes the most sense that most people have agreed to at this point is a proposal that essentially puts 12 teams in you have a lot of at-large spots, and you play the first-round games on campuses before the quarters and the semis are at bowl games.
The 5-12, 6-11, 7-10,
8-9.
and 8-9 on college campuses.
Correct.
And then you play the quarterfinals in bowl settings. You know how big that weekend of 4 games would be on college campuses? This year the games would have been – one of them would have been in Oxford.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember where all the games would have been. I think one of them would have been in Iowa City. South Bend, and Cincinnati.
Okay. Well, Cincinnati got in.
Or Michigan State.
Yeah.
I don't know. Wherever.
Whatever.
I would have watched. Would you have watched?
100%.
Yep. Are any of those teams winning the national championship? I don't know. Probably
yeah,
not.
9 committee members have
one would have been in Waco.
Oh, that's right. 9 committee members Ole Miss would have hosted Oklahoma State.
That's correct.
9 committee members have publicly supported the original 12-team playoff model. The proposed model grants automatic bids to the 6 highest-ranked conference champions, which is 6, which gets in the group of 5. That gives them a spot.
Yeah.
First-round buys to the highest-ranked 4 champions, and completes the field with 6 at-large selections.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing Sankey doesn't like about this, but he's willing to be fine with it, is that Georgia would not get a bye. But whatever, it'll be all right. They'll play an extra game and beat the hell out of somebody.
Yeah, in this scenario, Georgia would have been the 5.
They could not be the 1 through 4.
And they would have played a 12 in Athens and beaten the ever-living out. But who cares? We would have watched.
They would have played Wake Forest, and then they would have moved on.
It would have. Here's what it would have done. It would have actually made the SEC championship bigger.
Because of the bye.
Because Georgia played that game going, whatever. So we're going to wear white instead of red in the final?
Yeah.
We're going to go to Miami instead of Dallas?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me when it matters. You're not going to get an SEC trophy. Okay, that kind of sucks. What else? That's it. In this, it'd be like, no, the difference is you have a bye. There's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to play an extra game. Okay, well, then maybe we're going to –
I don't have to play 160 plays total that somebody could get hurt.
Yeah, maybe we're going to wind up and play this thing now.
Yeah, we're going to win the game, but it's not about that. I mean, and then Bowlesby says, I think that was received favorably, but since then we spent time on it. Some don't like it now. We knew it was going to get out, and so we went ahead and shared the details of it. It wasn't intended to bind anybody. Everybody's worried about their own silo at this point.
Yeah.
Those 3 conferences can't. The Pac-12 hasn't even had a playoff team since 16.
But what's the ACC?
This helps you.
What is the ACC's argument?
They're in this stupid alliance. Remember? They tied in with the Big Ten and the Pac-12.
I forgot the alliance.
They were in the alliance that's going to change college football.
And instead, they just keep it the same.
They're doing nothing but pissing off, essentially, Bowlesby, Sankey, and Swarbrick at this point is what's happening.
Now, I'll tell you this. If I'm USC.
Oh.
If I'm USC after yesterday, Greg. Hypothetically.
Hey, our name is the University of Southern California, right? Okay,
no,
cool.
I'm totally serious. If I'm them, I'm picking up the phone. Hey, y'all got any interest? Y'all got a little bit expanding thing you doing? You want to expand a little more? Because we're about done with this.
Oh, you know the AD is still Pat Hayden or whoever it is over there. Like
whoever it is pissed, right?
It's not Pat Hayden anymore.
No, but if you want to be a big boy, so now if you're in the Pac-12, I mean, you got to go unbeaten, and even then, I don't know that you get in. And you're so obscure that it's hard to pull it off. It's hard to recruit at that level.
Well, then the other thing doing it, like somebody says in the thread, the ACC badly wants Notre Dame, but Notre Dame wants to get this done. I mean, they're getting more pissed at the ACC by the moment. The 2 leagues that want Notre Dame the most, they go, well, damn it, guys.
If I'm Notre Dame and I'm doing a conference, I know which conference I'm calling. And people think I'm kidding. I am not kidding. I'm not even a little kidding.
Well, the only 2 options that make sense for Notre Dame are the SEC and the Big Ten.
That's it.
And the Big Ten's being complicated because Kevin Warren is one of the worst commissioners in the history of football.
And if I'm Notre Dame and I want to recruit some of these Southern players, I know how to do it.
Yeah, I mean, Dellinger says here, Sankey and many others are baffled by an obvious truth. The conferences that need expansion the most and strongly encouraged it 3 years ago were the ones either on the fence or flatly voting against the current proposal. We don't need this, Sankey said on expansion and with a wave of his arm.
Yeah, he's pissed.
He's really bad.
Yeah.
He spent like 8 hours in a room when he had 2 teams in town and needed to see a bunch of people, and instead he sat there and listened to them bitch at one another back and forth.
Yeah, no, he was fuming.
I'm a little surprised he didn't just get up and walk out. I got better things to do than you guys figuring it out. You know my vote. Holler at me when you make a decision.
Yeah. This would be a fun day to sit in a room with him and say,
because I think Mike Slive walks out.
He's trying to be diplomatic.
He's trying really hard.
Well, but I'm telling you, there's another power play coming. And when it does, this is going to be his way of saying, I tried.
I told you guys.
I tried the nice way. We did. We tried. Because I'm telling y'all, this Oklahoma-Texas is not the end of it. Because it's not the end of it.
The SEC has qualified at least one team in 15 of the last 16 title games, has won 12 of those, and sent 18 teams to the last 16 championship games.
It's total domination. If you want to get in that tournament without winning a conference championship, you better be in the SEC. And if you don't think that message has been sent loud and clear,
because, like I said, Sankey wants it done. It helps him at 8. It helps him at 12. The SEC still gets more teams than anybody else in that point. Sure, they always have more teams in the 12-team playoff. And he makes a point here. I mean, he's for it. He has a quote yesterday who says, in December 2018, conference leaders from those not in the SEC were loudly and publicly calling for expansion. We were not. It's not good for college football, however, though, to have an entire region not central to the playoff, meaning the West.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning put them in. Fine.
Yeah.
Play. Oregon, let them in the playoff. Utah, whomever. I guess Utah.
And the university presidents are generally for it because of the money. That's what's amazing is that there's this arms race, and the ACC is over there bitching about money, and you're going to walk away from that many hundreds of millions? I don't get it. But you're stubbornly, no, I'm going to take my ball and go home. Okay. Well, then you won't ever make this tournament again.
That was kind of his threat yesterday. Is he said, "I'm being patient, but I am close to just saying no, and then y'all can't do it without me." So,
yeah,
that's it.
Well, that's not all he's saying.
Well, no, he said, "I'll take your
I'll take your calls now." You know, because if you're not going to make the playoff routinely, don't you want the money? I would.
Yeah, the paragraph here. Meanwhile, the Pac-12 and the Big Ten have an historic relationship to consider. The two leagues hold a lucrative separate contract with the Rose Bowl, the oldest bowl game in college football. The expansion proposal impacts that agreement, the date of the game's kickoff, and the traditional matchups of teams, something seen as a possible hurdle to expansion. They won't give up the Rose Bowl.
I mean...
And then the Pac-12 had the gall to put out a press release saying they're open to all options. Essentially Sankey and Bowlesby and Swarbrick are all lying.
You literally just held it up over a time slot that most of the time could probably be accommodated because you would play the quarterfinal games on New Year's Day 6 out of every 7 years.
They would do everything in the world to help you.
Well, the only year you wouldn't do it is if it fell on a Sunday, like next year.
Yeah, and
even Christmas on a Sunday next year, New Year's on a Sunday? Yeah.
Yes. Unless it's a leap year. I don't know.
All right, they want us to talk about transfer portal.
Oh, okay. We'll do it in a minute. A couple interesting stats yesterday before we'll go into a break, come back out and do that. First time Saban led at the half, but then lost by double digits since Michigan State lost to LSU in the 1995 Independence Bowl. And then every head coach who has won a national title at their alma mater, all SEC teams. It's never happened at a program other than an SEC team.
So it's Kirby and who?
You want to guess? There are 5.
Vince Dooley.
I don't guess he went to Georgia. He's on the list.
That's right. Vince went to Auburn, right?
Don't know. Honestly, no clue.
So it's Kirby, Phil Fulmer.
That's correct. 3 more.
Yeah.
One incredibly obvious one that won a lot of titles.
Oh, Bear Bryant, of
That's
course.
correct.
Yeah.
2 more. 1 title each. East team, West team.
This is not my strong suit.
I gave you no heads up. I mean,
no, that's okay. This shows you how little of a historian.
Don't look at the
Steve Spurrier.
All right. Yep. And that was all over the thread.
Oh yeah, I'm trying not to look at. I'm not looking at the screen.
And then 1 more.
And this one's in the West.
This one's in the West. Yes.
I'm guessing this is Auburn.
That's correct.
Is it Shug Jordan or?
It's Ralph Jordan. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that is correct. So those are the ones. Smart, Fulmer, Spurrier, Bryant, Jordan. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
So decent question there. Not bad.
I will say this. You look at the Matt Luke thread on our board, and it's why if I'm an agent, I tell a coach, do not go back to your alma mater. Not if it means anything to you. Now, if you don't care and it's just a place that you happen to go to college, great.
Be careful if you want to retire there.
If you just have an emotional attachment to it, because if it doesn't go well, you're not like I think Matt and them want to come back one day.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know that they can. Might be in for a real surprise. Maybe the vitriol goes away over time.
I think there's also a difference, though, in a message board thread and people in the community they deal with.
Probably so.
Where you're not, I mean, it's not like they have to go out and talk to the 3,000 people on a message board every day. Because, I mean, they're pretty loved around here.
Sure. I mean,
as they should be.
As they should be. They're really good people.
That's kind of where that's at. All right, we'll talk about portal in a second. Before we do, talk about community mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. You're getting local underwriting and understands your market. A leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE@communitymtg.com.
Brought to you by Opa. It's Oxford's newest restaurant on the historic square. Delicious menu featuring gyros, wraps, kebabs, fresh redfish, lamb chops, and more. Handcrafted cocktails, frozen libations, amazing candlelit patio. 306 South Lamar, just south of the Square Courthouse in Oxford. If you're thinking about a summer vacation, sometimes I catch myself thinking about summer vacation. I just want to go to the beach and sit there with the book. But if your summer vacation might be a little more complicated than that, get in touch with John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. Give him some parameters. Give him a budget. He will give you options. And no, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387 or send him an email at jedwards@regencytravel.net. We're also brought to you by Pinnacle, which is home to the Pinnacle 401k advisory services team. They'll conduct a complimentary, no-obligation benchmarking and analysis of your current 401k plan. It's mypinwealth.com, MYPINN wealth.com. The College Corner is your one-stop Rebel Shop, 2 locations in the Jackson area. In Ridgeland, it's next to Fleet Feet. In Flowood, it's next to Half Shell. If you don't live in Jackson, it's okay. Go to College Corner, collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram, the largest selection of Rebel gear in Central Mississippi. And we're brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating, different names, same great products and services. If you live in Oxford, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call Comer, 662-801-1777. Or if you live in Hernando, Memphis, DeSoto County, call Southern Air Conditioning and Heating, 662-429-4429.
Podcast is brought to you by Nick's Tan and Associates, nickstanoxford.com, 662-281-1200. They'll help you on both sides of the home buying process, buying, selling here in Lafayette County, Cledeweese. So Keith Graham, their team of associates will help you out. Somebody you can trust and know here when you are purchasing or selling your home. So again, 662-281-1200, nickstanoxford.com. Let's see. So Ashim Young commits to Ole Miss yesterday. Huge pickup out of Iowa State, the defensive back. Got some coverage there at rebelgrove.com. Probably the replacement for Jake Springer, or at least that's the hope. He played the majority of his snaps at free safety. They moved him around a good bit. I talked to Bill Seals, who covers Iowa State for Rivals, and he mentioned his physicality, his ability to tackle, his proficiency in run defense. And he actually doesn't cover as bad as he's kind of getting credit for, at least from a stat standpoint. I looked it up yesterday, and opposing quarterbacks targeted him 17 times. That only turned into 8 completions, and he had 2 interceptions as well. He forced a couple fumbles. Apparently, he got a ton of targeting penalties as a freshman, but he cleaned that up as a sophomore, and he's a bit of a headhunter. So that's where what Ole Miss gets with him. He also had offers from A&M and somebody else, and I'm forgetting who the second team was, but nonetheless, quality player. Probably should be able to step in for Ole Miss. Like I said, I think he feels that Springer role is probably where that's sitting. I think we're probably on some level of commitment watch for the Central Michigan linebacker, Troy Brown.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
3-time All-MAC. He has 1 year of eligibility remaining. And then there's going to be another round of portal jumping here in the next day or two. You're going to have another set of people
We're certainly expecting it.
Yeah. No, not saying names. And but I think that's probably where it is. So I think you're going to have a lot more portal activity, and then still looking for that quarterback, still looking, frankly, out west right now. Reported yesterday, Ole Miss trying to get in the mix for Jackson Dart, who has jumped into the portal now that Caleb Williams is expected to go to USC, and then Michael Trigg, the talented tight end that is at SC as well.
So I've reached out to Jackson Dart's father. No response yet. I reached out to Michael Trigg's father. He responded, "We're supposed to talk today."
Oh, he did?
He did. I don't.
He's pretty comfortable talking to the media.
Yes. I know there's a report that they're visiting today. I don't know whether that's true or not, to be honest.
They were trying to get them into town. We'll see.
There's a report that Dart is taking an official visit to Oklahoma this weekend.
Could take a visit to Oklahoma.
Okay.
There was some. I know we'll be shocked here. There was some lapses in exact phrases between there and here.
At 247?
Well, I just mean even as it's got brought over. Like everywhere he went, it did not exactly was not what was said.
So you say maybe something was set up to get clicks?
Saying it was not exact. He could end up at Oklahoma. I don't know, but I'm just saying that was not exactly what.
But there may have been clickbait. Is that is that possible?
It's potentially a thing. Yes. So.
I mean, I talked to someone yesterday who's out in LA who's familiar with Dart. And the two schools that had come up initially in conversations were BYU and Ole Miss. He is Mormon. BYU, you may have heard, is a Mormon school.
And he is incredibly tight with, or not tight, he is very familiar with John David Baker, which helps Ole Miss.
Yes.
Who also is the tight ends coach, which would be good for Trick.
His offensive coordinator, Graham Harrell, just got hired at West Virginia.
Correct.
I don't know whether that's a tie. I have no idea. I would rather talk to someone close to Jackson Dart, and then I could be more accurate. But to this point, and I'm sure that their phones have blown up. So to this point, I've not yet heard from Dart.
We'll see what he says to Neal today. Mike Trigg, Michael's dad, has made it clear that his son is looking for volume catches at tight end, that he did not think – well, Lincoln Riley did not recruit him at all when he was at Oklahoma. He has pointed out to multiple media members, including our buddy Antonio Morales with The Athletic, that he had over 50 offers out of high school, but Oklahoma was not one, and that under Lincoln Riley's system, he did not believe that there would be volume passes. Lane Kiffin, known for getting the tight end involved. Harrison Bryant won the Mackey Award a few years ago. Kenny Yeboah obviously improved his stock as well. Yes, there is a church for that in Oxford. I mean, obviously there's not a large contingent, but there is that availability.
He is from Utah. One of the things that I was told weeks ago when I asked somebody about Jackson Dart, we were kind of looking ahead to who some of the quarterbacks could be on the portal, and we knew this Caleb Williams thing was a possibility with him going to USC, I was told that Dart would prefer to stay west. That doesn't mean that he will. It doesn't mean that hasn't changed. But it might be a little bit more of an uphill battle than people think. These decisions, people have the tendency, us included, to go, okay, well, what's his best football fit?
They're humans.
And usually there's more to it than that. Trigg is from Florida, so for him, going to Mississippi is closer to home.
Yeah, he's cool. Whatever.
Yeah.
Sure.
He's
already done the cross country thing.
Yeah, but if you're a kid from Utah who was in LA, it might be simply easier to stay in that area than it would be to go to a completely different part of the country. I don't know. Again, I've not talked to Jackson Dart, and I've not talked to people close to him. I'm working at it. And maybe Mike Trigg will be able to give me some insight on that. I don't know.
He probably knows the Dart family.
I would think they're familiar, sure.
Probably a deal. Yes, he is from Devin Brown's high school, at least there at the end. So,
yeah, I almost cracked the joke right there, and I didn't. I stopped.
Grind says, no worries, y'all. If you can come get Calzada if you don't find nobody. It's even a little bit of my thing, though, because I was looking at the top 25 that they've got coming up. Or Slabaugh put it out yesterday, sorry. And A&M is incredibly high. I mean, I'll get into it before we get done with the show.
Okay.
But, I mean, their quarterback thing is up in the air. I mean, I still kind of have some questions.
A&M's?
Yeah, I mean, it's King or Max Johnson. It's like, okay.
People there insist that it's Haynes King and that it's all good. I don't know.
When has A&M not insisted that everything is all good?
I just watched Georgia win the title with Stetson Bennett.
I know. And when A&M does that, I will believe they can do it. But and again, they're recruiting so damn well that at some point you got to win some games. But I'm still not sure they're going to win the game.
Yeah.
They went 8-4.
Again, I told you I'd put my money on it. Wasn't Texas A&M.
Yeah, they went 8-4.
And they got to go to Tuscaloosa next year in a game that might get circled.
Yeah.
Good luck, fellas.
Oh, that's true.
It usually does not work out. All that happened last night was that Nick Saban just got a little more motivated.
You don't think the dynasty's over?
No.
The dynasty didn't end last night?
No.
That wasn't all the thorn off the roses last night?
I will tell you that dynasty is dead when they tell me that dynasty is dead.
Kirby didn't take the sword and put it right in the middle of the...
Well, Kirby didn't do any Ed Orgeron bullshit last night.
Oh, that's true. That was really stupid on Ed's part.
Oh, so dumb. Just insane.
He was feeling himself a little that night, and he got a little carried away.
You look back on it, and that was a moment to go, you know what? You might not know what you're doing. No, Kirby was proud of his team, took no shots at Alabama.
I mean, no shot to take.
No, of course not. He had to work really hard to get to that place.
I mean, I gave them no chance mid-third or whenever that was yesterday. I thought when Alabama scored to go up whatever they win, I went, okay, well, that's it. All right, this again. Like, before he made that big throw, I went, eh.
Well, sure, and that was the big moment.
Yeah.
They had some moments in that game where things kind of turned, blocked a field goal, had a couple of real aggressive runs, and then made the big throw.
What was who blathering about on Twitter yesterday?
Ross was upset about something on
What was
Twitter
he mad
yesterday.
about?
I don't remember.
He was doing one of those Hugh things of, oh, y'all are questioning our integrity with our recruiting class.
Was it that?
Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Don't tell people to email rbyork at anm.edu. Don't do it. Stop.
Or compliance at tamu.edu.
Yes. What is JT Daniels going to do?
You're asking me things I don't know the answers to.
I guess.
I guess
He's
he stays at Georgia and plays. Does Bennett have
Bennett
another
has
year?
another year left. Now, is he actually going to take it? I don't know, but
Don't you, if you're Stetson, you think about letting that be your coronating moment? Nice guy, got your health. I mean, probably going to be all good in the state of Georgia for a while. When I say for a while, I mean forever.
yeah, his next bit's all right, isn't it? Like,
Probably time to. What's he?
Bennett Insurance in Athens could go real well.
It really would.
I mean, it could go real well.
You'd have to really think about it, wouldn't you?
You put all the crap up behind you in your office.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I'm coming in for a quote. Let me tell you about the. Sit down.
Yeah.
Have some coffee.
Call a photographer and go, listen. I need about 10 of those photos.
Yeah.
Blow them up. I'll pay for them.
Yeah, we're gonna hang them everywhere.
I'm going to decorate my office.
I might even wrap my whole building in them.
Wouldn't blame him.
Just a damn trophy for the building right there. I don't know. Let's see. Portal-wise, otherwise, there's dudes. They keep offering wide receivers still.
Which begs the question, what's the latest with Deion Smith? And
there is
my
no
answer is
latest.
I don't know.
There is no latest. I mean, seriously.
At this point, I would bet cautiously that he'll end up just staying at LSU.
That is my guess. And it is a guess.
It's my guess, too. I don't know.
But it's a guess. Like I said, I thought once he had the academic issues and you kind of let Brian Kelly at least play It's going to be tougher. Looks like is Butte staying?
Sounds like it.
Is that the way that's working?
Sounds like it. There's been some talk about Alabama, but
Oh, really?
yeah,
Bama has Ricks coming in next year.
yeah,
Saw that.
Yeah. The rumor on Butte was Alabama for a little while.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. So we'll go ahead and skip down, and then I'll come back to the top. And Schlabach's top 25 yesterday. He had Ole Miss at 23. Obviously, the Rebels just came off 10-3, 6-2, losing a ton of dudes. A ton of dudes.
I couldn't put Ole Miss there right now.
Key starters expected to leave: Corral, Ely, Sanders, Drummond, Umana, Williams, Robinson, Springer, and Campbell.
It's a bunch.
That's a lot of replacements. Schlabach says the Rebels took a gamble on Lane Kiffin, but it paid off when he guided them to their first 10-win regular season in school history. The season ended with a thud after they lost Corral to an injury and to Baylor in the Sugar Bowl. Now Kiffin will have to replace many of the difference makers on offense, including Corral, Ely, and top receivers. Backup quarterback Luke Altmaier was shaky in the Sugar Bowl, but it was the first extensive action of his career. Wouldn't be a surprise, however, if Kiffin adds a more experienced passer to the portal. Robinson and top pass rusher Williams are big losses on defense, but as many as 6 starters might be returning on that side of the ball. They're really good in the secondary. I think they are going to retool back there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be curious to see if Partridge ends up getting closed off here, if he kind of keeps that 3-2-6, if that's just kind of what they run, if they try to do something different. Frankly, Brown will help at linebacker, but from a standpoint of personnel, that makes a lot of sense. A, it works against the type of offenses you see the best. And
that's where
two,
they have depth.
Yeah, that's where you have the most dudes. I mean, getting guys on the field, when you get Brown and Reese and some of those guys, it plays a big role in that. So to me, that makes sense. But as you would expect, this is littered throughout the SEC in his top 25 here. As you look at it, he does have Alabama number 1 in the preseason going into next season. Ohio State he has at number 2.
Okay.
They obviously have a lot of dudes back. So they have Travion Henderson and C.J. Stroud coming back also on that offense. Georgia at 3. A&M at 4.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan at 5.
Okay.
I'm fine with that. Like I said, even at 5, this is where it gets so shaky and weird.
If you're Mark, right, is I know ESPN says you got to do this, so we want it the next day because clicks. But if you want to do this right, you've got to wait for 2 things. You've got to wait for the portal to finish spinning, and you've got to wait for the coaching carousel to finish spinning.
Yeah.
Is Jim Harbaugh at Michigan? Is he with the Bears? Is Ryan Day at Ohio State? Is he with the Bears? Just those things that you would just have to have answered before you could do this. But when you do it on January the 11th, you're pretty much admitting that, hey, we're just getting clicks with something that we always do.
No, Chris Kiffin in Ole Miss is not dead at all. He kind of hit a holding pattern. I think he is still making that decision. It is very much not dead. I have no idea. I think he is leaning toward taking it. That appears to be based off what I know, but I'm not willing to go any stronger than that. Neal can guarantee it if he would like.
No.
Well,
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
You would say yes, though, if you had to guess one way or the other.
Probably. Something up?
Maybe. Sorry, guy. I mean, we're live. There's nothing I can do.
Okay.
All right. Notre Dame at 6.
There seems to be, I will say this, there seems to be an obsession, and that's probably the right word, with keeping it as private as humanly possible. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Utah at 7. Talk for a second. You pay a bill or something. Just give me
Okay.
2 minutes.
All right. I'll give you a minute. I'll go ahead and pay a couple of bills because I have no idea where you're going there. So
I'm not going anywhere on the show, so I'm just going to have to.
We're also brought to you by Lamons. Lamons Fine Jewelry, located at 1126 North Lamar Boulevard in Oxford. They've been serving the Oxford area for more than 73 years, almost 3/4 of a century. From engagement rings to wedding rings, fine jewelry, watches, pearls, fashion jewelry, children's jewelry, collectibles, and more. Lamons is the gold standard in fine jewelry. Visit them at lamonsfinejewelry.com or call them at 662-234-2777. We are Also brought to you by Pinpoint Commercial Real Estate. They're based in Jackson. They service the entire state of Mississippi in all commercial asset classes such as retail, office, industrial, and land. This week's property spotlight is on the property spotlight's on the Village at Madison, located in historic Old Town Madison. It'll feature roughly 60,000 square feet of Class A restaurant, retail, medical, and professional office space, along with roughly 75 zero-lot line residences, with Pinpoint handling the leasing for the commercial portion of the development. It's located on the corner of Madison Parkway and Main Street in Madison. Cobblestone streets, iron railings, gas lighting will serve as signature elements of the development. Give BB and Sam a call to learn more at 601-586-3220. Also brought to you by ACS, Automation and Control Systems, LLC. It's an electrical control system solution provider and a Rockwell Automation recognized system integrator based out of Baldwin, Mississippi. They have a full-time, dedicated emergency service and troubleshooting staff and a UL 508A panel shop. They can custom tailor software packages, custom design electrical control panel solutions, and much more. It's ACSLLCMS.com or call 662-601-4381. Brought to you by Dead Soxy. Go to deadsoxy.com, deadsoxy.com. Just enter the promo code Rebel Grove. Get 25% off any order of the best socks you'll ever put on your feet. And don't forget, NFL playoffs coming up this weekend, college basketball, NBA. You want to have a little fun, bet on those games, you can recommend that you use BroThrow. It's a cool, fun way to bet. No third party, no juice. Over time, that's going to save you money. You can start your own group, make friends, invite friends. Payment happens within 24 hours of the conclusion of your bet. You can take the other side of an existing bet, start a new bet, and more at brothrow.com.
We know that some of you really enjoy Valentine's Day. Johnson Hill Creamery is going to do some Valentine's Day boxes for you here soon. You can start getting acclimated to what is offered in those, some different pre-order options. They are open 10 to 5 today. You can go by, check out for yourself. It's on White Oak Lane, right off Molly Bar in Oxford, 662-419-9201. As we told you yesterday, we know there's Sadie Lady homemade cheese. They've got them in like little heart shapes. Pretty cool item there inside the box and more. JohnsonHillCreamery.com to find out all the details. You can see the add-on items, including the pepper jellies, the spiced honeys, the dips and different things there. So plenty of different options there with all homemade cheeses made in-house there, homemade from Johnson Hill Creamery. So again, check them out, johnsonhillcreamery.com. Yeah, I know, guys. I know you hate it. But there's nothing I can do right now, and I'm not about to just start spewing stuff online. I think it's true, but
it's an interesting development. Yeah, I know people are pissed.
I know you're pissed.
I don't blame you for being pissed.
Yeah.
But if we reported something that wasn't right, we'd get killed.
Yeah. And we're in like a weird spot. I mean, there's only so much I can, we have no ability, because I can't stop the podcast, so I have no ability to do that. So
what were the other SEC teams in that preseason poll?
Yeah. Well, it was littered with SEC teams. By the way, NC State at number 8. 8 next year. 8.
I always want to make a comment when I hear that.
But there's two things. One, yes, Dave Dorn has done a hell of a job. Two, this is kind of their year, kind of like Iowa State last year. They got 18 starters back. So you better capitalize on having 18 starters back.
But he's done a really good job. They're very steady.
They've done a good job.
And so when you do the Matt, let me kind of full circle. When you do the Matt Luke thing, Matt took a job that he was offered. That's it. If you want to be upset at people, you should be upset at Ross Bjork for not standing up to the chancellor. And then you should absolutely be pissed off at the chancellor because that dude burned so many bridges over the course of his time. And you should be mad at some of the people locally who campaigned the way that they campaigned, bartered the way that they bartered. That's what led to all that. Dave Doran would have been a really solid hire in that moment. He would have been a stabilizing hire in that moment. And he wouldn't have come in with the baggage that was not fair that Matt had. But Matt had baggage. Matt had been on Freeze's staff.
Still being from those staffs.
He was on Freeze's staff, and it looked like he got the job because of the local stuff, and it made it where he never really had a shot.
Yes. The rest of the poll, Oklahoma State at 9, Michigan State at 10, Clemson at 11. Clemson, by the way, has 17 starters back next season. Oregon, 12. Houston, 13. Feels high, but they went 12-2. Wake Forest, 14. Feels high. Feels like we're just kind of taking the final poll from this year and moving it around.
Well, in a lot of ways you are. And again, you're doing this
so early,
and it's for clicks.
Iowa, 15. Baylor, 16. Oklahoma, 17. The Oklahoma 17 is interesting from the standpoint of they look so bad all year in their own way, even though they went 11-2. They went as bad as you could look at an 11-2 team. That they've sort of fallen out of that favor of just getting the crazy benefit of the doubt.
And they looked good enough in the bowl game and the Dylan Gabriel thing where you go, well, they probably won't fall that far.
They could still win the league. I mean, who knows?
But it'd be tough.
BYU at 18, Cincinnati at 19, Arkansas at 20, Kentucky at 21, SC at 22, mentioned Ole Miss at 23, Wisconsin at 24, and number 25, South Carolina.
Oh, really? I was going to guess you were going to say Tennessee.
No, South Carolina.
Huh.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh, it's fine. Whatever.
Well, I mean, they're going to be better at a lot of spots. They've had a lot of success in the portal. They're capitalizing on some momentum. They'll sell a lot of tickets. Who was the true loser in the NCAA debacle? Not Freeze, not Luke, not Bjork. I mean, Barney, Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Yeah.
It's Barney, but the level of loss is mitigated. I mean, at the end of the day, he was an all-field staffer.
Yeah.
It's only the biggest loss being Barney from a couple different reasons. A, he took credibility to shots that he shouldn't have taken. They should have gone on somebody else, which is huge.
Yeah.
Changed his ability to get D1 jobs. I mean, a 5-year show cause is a big freaking deal. And then 2, it would have been really easy to put him on the field, elevate him as a position coach, which would have changed his career. That is where it really you get into the end of the deal.
And I would argue that to a lot of degrees that Freeze was a loser in it. I mean, he's still coaching at Liberty today.
That's true.
He's making a lot of money, and he's in a place that, frankly, is a better fit for him. But Hugh would love to be the coach at Tennessee or South Carolina or Auburn today, and he's not.
Walker, I saw you ask for in-game thoughts. I'm going to do a podcast on that. It would take up a lot of time, and frankly, most people probably are not interested in that. But I am going to do a show on that journey.
Oh, is that a movie?
It's the kind of the climax of how far I've gotten in this Marvel thing. Like it's where they wrap everything and kind of move on. So yeah,
okay.
It's but I don't have 25 minutes for that. And it probably would take that long to go through all my different thoughts to that. I will say though it is my favorite one I've watched. It went straight to the top, and I don't think that's just recency bias or the fact that I watched it this week. So yeah. Okay. Let's see. Anything else?
Ole Miss, Texas A&M tonight.
Oh yeah, 7:30 on that one. The Aggies are pretty hot.
They're real hot. They actually kind of dominated Arkansas for most of the game the other day, and then Arkansas made a late run and got it really close.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think Arkansas got within 2, and then A&M got a bucket and then won the game. But A&M was the better team for the overwhelming majority of 40 minutes. So they're all. I think they're 13-2 overall. They've won 8 in a row, I think. So it'll be a challenge for Ole Miss tonight. I don't know Jarkel Joyner's status. It's a back. If you've ever had back issues, you know how that works. To my understanding, there's no COVID issue with this team. Everybody made the trip or is making the trip. So
yeah, they lost to TCU 68-64, and since then they beat Oregon State. They won in Corvallis. Sorry, I was forgetting where they were located. They won in Corvallis 83-73. They beat Northwestern State. They beat DCH, which if you guys can come up with what that stands for, who they played, feel free. Off the top of my head, I cannot make that into
DCH?
Off the top of my head, I'm not making that into anybody.
No clue.
I don't know. Central Arkansas, and then in league play, they won at Georgia 81-79. They beat Arkansas 86-81, as you mentioned, and then now playing Ole Miss. So they've played 2 conference games, 2-0 at this point.
Okay.
Big game for them because they actually can get the next one, too. Missouri, they go to Columbia and play, try to get a road game. And then they have 3 games of much tougher action. They get Kentucky at home and then go to Arkansas and LSU back-to-back. So kind of key couple games here for A&M as they try to position themselves. Ole Miss had their game against Florida rescheduled January 24th for the date on that. That's a Monday night.
So they'll play 3 games. Boom.
They play 3 games in 5 days. They play Arkansas, Florida, and State over a 5-day period there.
Arkansas at home, Florida at home, and then at State.
Yeah, in whatever order they're in, that is the way that's working out.
I think it's Florida and then Arkansas and then State.
Well, no, it goes the other way. It's Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, whatever it is. But I don't know. I don't know who's Saturday and who's Wednesday.
I don't know.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe it's at State and then
I'm looking
Florida
at it
and
now
then
because we're just
Arkansas.
confusing the crap out of people. It is Mississippi State on Saturday, January 22nd.
Yeah,
and then is Florida at home, and then Arkansas at home.
Gotcha.
And then they're actually at home on Saturday too, because that's the Big 12 Challenge. They play Kansas State.
Okay.
So they get a home game there as well. They come home and play Auburn and Missouri back to back after A&M. They play 7:30 against Auburn on Saturday night, and then on Tuesday they play home against Missouri. So that's the only positive in this is they're off from Tuesday until Saturday heading into that stretch. They don't have the Wednesday game.
Gotcha.
They got the home game on Tuesday. Tonight's game is on SEC Network. Is the time for that, and then let me just get you a quick rundown of what else is going on. Oh, it's the Alabama game. Alabama and Auburn play tonight in Tuscaloosa. That's your other SEC game of note tonight.
What time's that game?
I pulled it up. I don't know. Let's see. SEC schedule.
5:30.
I mean, are they on the same channel?
I don't know. Maybe that's
know.
an ESPN game tonight.
Do I know?
Maybe the Alabama Auburn game is ESPN. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now just to make sure. Tonight, your matchups: SEC Network at 5:30, South Carolina at Tennessee.
Okay.
On ESPN at 6, Kentucky at Vanderbilt. 7:30 on SEC Network, Ole Miss and A&M, and at 8 o'clock on ESPN, Auburn and Alabama.
You'll stay up to watch that one?
I will turn it on if I'm just kind of hanging out. Yeah, I probably will not be what I watch, but if I was having nothing else, sure, I'll turn it on and just give it a chance. There, Alabama's been a little schizophrenic because of their lack of defense and their necessity to hit outside shots. So,
better play some defense against Auburn.
Yeah.
Auburn's legitimately really good.
So, we'll see. What's that about? Nothing. I'm making sure we hadn't missed anything news-wise. So, okay. We will be back with you tomorrow with another edition of the show. Whatever's going on today, maybe some news, maybe not. We'll fill you in at rebelgrove.com. In the meantime, so I hope you have a wonderful day. Talk to you again very soon.